Hey there, and thank you so much for watching. This is the Well-Behaved Wallet. My name is Christiana, and my mission is to use this well-behaved wallet to love the life I have while building the life of my dreams. It is about 8:30, and I'm on my way into work, and here are the things I want to talk about, and I'll give you a quick kind of life update as well. Just kind of like a day in the life, what's going on today. So I want to talk about excuses. 2 hands on the wheel. I want to talk about calculating the cost of current decisions. I want to talk about breaking out of inertia. So those are the 3 things I want to talk about: excuses, inertia, and calculating the cost. So, for example, yesterday I was coming home from work. I didn't have anything to do in the afternoon. Like, I had no evening activities planned, which is unusual for me. Normally I have something planned. I'm either teaching or I'm going somewhere, or I'm meeting someone. So that was unusual, and I was like, what am I going to do? So there were a couple different options on the table, but what I ended up doing was just going home and doing nothing. Literally nothing. Like, I watched some bad TV, ate dinner, I ate dinner with my mom, and then I tried to go to bed early, but it was one of those where I got myself into bed around 10 and then just laid there until about 12:31. It was awful. I was watching some YouTube, I was reading a little bit. I just couldn't fall asleep. So that, I feel like, that's both inertia and calculating the cost of future decisions. Because one of the options that I wish I would have taken was, on my way home, instead of going straight home, to stop at a coffee shop or something and then plan out content for YouTube, maybe think about doing more eBay stuff or something like that. I did not do that. And part of me feels like I needed the rest. Maybe I did. I've been resting a lot over the past couple months, which is probably a good thing. But at the same time, I wish I had done something to break out of that inertia, because, again, calculating the cost of your current decisions. So I saw a quote on Instagram, and that quote was something along the lines of, the best math you can ever learn is calculating the cost of your current decisions on your future happiness, or something like that. And I'm thinking that's so true, because how often do we not really think about what we're doing in the moment and how that's going to pay off long term? And I certainly yesterday felt that. I was almost going to say I felt guilty of that, but at the same time, I'm like, all right, and here's my third point, or my first point, on excuses. So Money Mom has a video about, we don't need to justify ourselves to anyone, and that really sort of struck home with me, struck a chord, because I feel like a lot of the time I make a lot of excuses, and people feel like I'm really defensive, especially on that Money Mustache video. People are like, you're just full of excuses, and why you're not going to move anywhere. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yep, I'm absolutely defending my current lifestyle. And I realize, you know what? I don't need to defend my lifestyle to anyone. I can absolutely take on board helpful suggestions. And when people say, hey, have you suggested doing this? Or what about trying this? With the spirit of being helpful, that's super welcome. And that's another thing, is it's difficult to tell someone's tone when they're leaving a comment, and sometimes a comment can seem really, I'm gonna say not abusive, but really mean-spirited when it's not meant that way. I had a friend that said that she's a medical doctor, and she was taught in a seminar that she should always assume positive intent. So I try to do that. I try to assume positive intent, especially with comments. So, and I'm talking maybe 99% of them are positive, but it's that 1% where you're like, that struck a chord. That was a little bit kind of got my hackles up on that one. So I think right now, realizing for myself that I'm oriented in the right way. I'm oriented toward financial freedom, financial increase, to grow my income, grow my assets, reduce my debt, and live an abundant, prosperous, and free life. It's just about speed right now. And I feel like I'm getting there. Maybe the pace a little turtle, but I'm getting there. So that's where I am as far as I would say justification or excuses go, and I'm going to keep reminding myself that as long as my principles are internally integrated, that's all I gotta worry about. That's all I can worry about is, am I making myself proud? Am I doing my best for myself and forget anyone else and pleasing anyone else? So that's my thoughts on excuses. So here's like the life update, what's going on, talking about calculating the cost of future decisions. So I'm heading into work now. I usually work till about 5:30. What else? I teach tonight. I have 4 lessons, and this is another thing. So I have 4 lessons. I get $30 an hour, and I'm gonna make $60 for teaching 4 kids. And that just barely covers my gas. Like, it doesn't even cover like the emotional the emotional effort to teach 4 kids, which I love. I love doing. I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it, because it's just not worth it. I adore it. And one day I am actively looking for a way to make that financially feasible. But here's the thing too, I don't want to rely on that for my income, because I do it because I love it, and I feel like if I had to rely on it for income, I wouldn't love it anymore. So this I call it volunteering, because it really is. You see, I teach America and I volunteer. Like, that's what I do, because I really do love it. And they're all getting ready for competition next weekend, I think. So it's a little bit hairy, so I need to be there for them. So I'm excited for that. And I was asked to cover on Friday to teach 4 lessons, and I'm like, 4 lessons for $60? Like, I'm sorry, I can't. Like, even if I just hang out with myself, like, or with a friend, like, it's just not. It doesn't back out for me. I'm sorry. My theory is, if I take that hour that I was asked to teach and I use that instead, or those 2 hours, and I use those instead solely on my eBay biz, I know I would make more than $60. So that's where that is. What else? So that's through today. What else? Then we have Friday, and I think I am gonna just hang out with a friend. I think we're probably gonna catch up on Game of Thrones. And then Saturday morning I have the yoga class, and I'm trying to think what else I'm gonna do that day, because I have the friend that I saw last weekend, who lives out in way west, and her daughter, talk about teaching, her daughter plays violin. She's 9, and she needs a teacher, and I'm like, I teach. So if her daughter wants to, I would love to go teach her, but I don't want to teach kids that don't want to learn. So I'm gonna see if her daughter's still on it, still interested. And then Saturday night, my mom and I are thinking of babysitting for a couple in church, so they can go out and have a pre-Mother's Day treat. And then Sunday's just Sunday. Yeah. So we had planned on Sunday to do just like a brunch at home. My mother really likes, when we were in Cape May, we had this Bananas Foster French toast, and she loved it. So my goal was to find a recipe for Bananas Foster French toast and make that. We can just put that in the oven and maybe do that for Sunday, save some dough, and then maybe go out that week after, because, you know, restaurants inflate those prices for Mother's Day. So that is a plan for the rest of the weekend. Then the week after that, I am actually out of town in Florida for a company retreat, which is exciting. Not so stressful. It's good to be away from the everyday. It's just really jam-packed. There's a lot going on in that week. They really jam us full of seminars and breakout sessions and group activities and all that stuff, which would be a little bit overwhelming for someone who's an introvert like me. And I'm also, so this is a cool thing, I am rooming with a colleague, because they had put out a call for people to room, because we're so big that we sold out the hotel and we're looking for like overflow rooms. So our company put out a call for people to room together, and they offered as an incentive a $200 Amex gift card. And I'm like, oh yeah, all about it. So it really worked out, because she needs a new dehumidifier and I need a new phone. So I am hoping that would be a nice hefty chunk of change toward a new phone. So that is a positive development as far as that goes. So that's sort of my thoughts on excuses, inertia, and the cost of current decisions, and also what's coming up for the next couple weeks. Thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate you, and I hope that you will keep watching. Bye.